na 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 na. I said I tried, but it feels like I'm wasting my time. He says that he's losing his mind. He thinks I got things on the side, 'cause I can't decide if I wanna be tied down, tied up, worn out, light up. Enough now, no words, no words. 'Cause I know you too well.
Welcome to Game Changers with Fabian Lyon. I'm glad everybody could join me. And this evening, I am so delighted to have as my guest, rising star, singing star, and she sings so many genres, Kaylan Arnold. Kaylan, thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate the intro.
Yeah, and I was just going through some music selections a couple weeks ago, and what's the latest, hottest songs, and your name kept popping up. And just tell me, how does it feel to be right there on that cusp of that next generation of young singers that's just really taking over right now?
It feels very good. I feel very blessed and highly favored, and all I can say is thank you to God and for the people that are helping me out, so.
Okay. And just tell a little bit about your musical background. I know you play several instruments, and just tell me how being so versatile has really helped you in your career.
So yeah, I play a few instruments. I play guitar, flute, piano, ukulele, and drums. And I would say it helps me with versatility, and versatility helps with the industry tremendously, because then you can go into any setting with any producer, any instrumentalist, and create a vibe from scratch. So it's almost like a cheat code, or like a little sidekick.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A lot of fun.
Speak about your influences, because it's not just one genre. I know you like Nina Simone, Erykah Badu, and obviously several reggae artists. Just tell me how they all collectively inspire you to write and perform.
I'm definitely like very heavily influenced by Amy Winehouse as well, and all the artists that you just named. And I would say that listening to them a lot sort of like shaped my sound. Maybe not in like their singing techniques, but the overall feeling that it gives you. And I think that like listening to so many artists has helped me appreciate music overall too, because then you hear something new and you want to be able to like tap into that when you need to as well.
Tell me about Amy Winehouse in particular. What about her, maybe her style, her free spirit? Is it like a number of things that really drew you to her and really studied her?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would say 5 stars all around. Everything that you just said, like her songwriting technique, the way that she plays instruments especially is super special, because she could perform all of her songs live if she wanted to without a band or anybody. Realistically, if she wanted to do shows by herself, she could, and people would still be mesmerized. So I think that that's why I'm really intrigued by her, and why I think that she's so influential.
Okay. Now, being such an artistic and talented singer, has these past couple months that were kind of shut in with COVID, have you used that time to maybe work on some songs, and just tell me how you kind of dealt with all that?
Absolutely. The time has definitely given me the most amount of focus that I've ever had, I feel like, and drive as well. Because it's not just me that is locked up, it's everyone else. So if everyone else is trying to better themselves, and I feel like if COVID didn't bring the hustler out of you, then you don't really have it, in my opinion. Or you have it, but you just got to tap in a little bit deeper. But I think that it's a tool, and it helps us like literally have nowhere to go and nothing better to do. And I think that that's how I ended up playing so many instruments, as well as not really having anything else to do or like anywhere else to go. So
right. So with COVID, we could either sit around and worry and not be productive, or we could really kind of dig a little deeper than we normally would, right?
Exactly, I agree.
Okay. Now, as far as just tell me how your whole music career started. I think it's unique in that you're in college, and then you take it from there as to what really had you change direction so suddenly?
So basically, it started when I was like in kindergarten. I had like a Christmas recital, and I remember the song. It was like the best gift of all, and I still remember all the words to it. And that's when my parents like learned that I could sing. So then they always took it very seriously. I ended up graduating from a school in Palm Beach County called the Benjamin School. And then I went to Loyola University, New Orleans, where I was like a music industry business major. And that's really where I met all the fire people, all the instrumentalists and producers and singers and rappers. I think I saw my first rap cipher ever when I was in college. I'd never been exposed to that before. So I was like, what, people
Wow.
are this good? So I think that it brought to my attention that I was really sheltered and it allowed me to like free myself up. So then one day I just was having a rough day and I like made the decision that I wanted to be a full-time artist. So I called my parents and I was like, hey guys, like this is not really working out for me. I'm not happy. Like this is affecting my mental health a lot and I'd rather do this. And then they came and picked me up like 2 days after that. They drove from Florida to pick me up in New Orleans.
Okay. Well, what would you say to maybe some young people out there that are just kind of, they're kind of torn in between studying something that they might not be particularly excited about, but to kind of take that leap of faith and to kind of follow your heart and your dreams?
I would say definitely that life is short, but in the best way. So you need to be very, 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 very aware of that. And you need to pick and choose your battles because not everything needs to be a fight with yourself. I feel like the only person that could stand in your way is yourself. That's like the main thing that I kind of live by. So
Mhm.
if you're not in your way, then no one else can really be in your way.
Now, I've seen footage of your concerts, and your fans really get into your sound, and they're so encouraging, and that energy is. I mean, concerts have energy in themselves, but it seems like your fans really, really, they sing along with you, and they support you, and you support them,
Yeah.
and you give them a lot of like a good feel. Is that something that you really plan on doing each concert and each record? Is making your fans feel good?
Absolutely. I think that that is probably the number one thing that I strive for when making music is making things that make people feel good. And whenever it's a performance thing, that's like when I have the most fun. I think that the most fun for me is when I'm behind the mic recording or behind the mic at a performance. So for me, it's just like I used to play basketball. So if we were practicing and our practices were going really well and our drills were looking good, then I know that like when we have the game, it's going to be a breeze. Same thing like if I actually study for a test, I know that I'm going to ace a test. So I'm excited to take the test. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
with shows, I feel like that's something that kind of comes naturally. So it's like that's like when I get to play. Like there's the work and there's the play aspect. So especially when I'm like in a crowd of people who are extremely accepting of like who I am as an artist or a person or just being open to hearing something new. It definitely like facilitates the whole like process of doing a performance and it makes me feel at home. So then I make them feel at home. So then I probably leave with a few more friends as well.
Mhm.
Like an energy thing for sure.
Now take us back to your very, very first performance in front of a sizable crowd, and just tell me the build-up going into it. Is it what you expected? Were you a little scared, or how did it turn out for you, and where was it?
Um, well, I mean, honestly, that first recital in kindergarten was when I was in front of a lot of people, all
Hmm.
the parents and all the little kids. But I feel like I might have been like either in shock or too young to process what was going on. So I wasn't really nervous. I didn't feel it. So I'd say the time after that would be when I joined like musical theater, drumline, and like everything that's musical in high school. And we started doing things in front of like the student body or doing them in front of the parents and stuff. Like for homecoming week, I was always selected to do any of like the karaoke or like the musical stuff. So then I had to sing in front of like freshmen through seniors and all the teachers and PE coaches and stuff. So I was kind of just thrown right into it, like when parents are teaching their kids how to swim and they just like
Hmm.
put them in the water.
Is that when you found out it was, or at what point did you realize that this is your purpose, so to speak? Was it back in school, or since you become a professional singer?
Um, I would say probably when I got a new management team recently, like the past 2 years, because my first record deal was in 20, I mean, is when I was 17. So, I mean, I thought that it was kickstarting there. And then kind of slowed down a little bit. There were still huge steps, but I feel like now it's more serious because it's not just me; it's a whole bunch of people around me. So I'd say
Okay.
that.
Yeah. As far as which songs, I know you're getting ready to perform a couple of songs for us, and for that, we're really happy for that. Is there one song even today that stands out, that you have written, that stands out for you?
Um, I would say probably my song "If I'm Lying" because that's really the main one that when I perform, the crowd is very responsive and sings along with me, and it does well like every time. So it's a lot of fun, and the experience
Okay.
was fun.
And tell me more a little bit about that song. What inspired it? What were you going through at the time, and what made you really put pen to paper?
So that song was special because I kind of made it on the spot. For me, my writing process kind of varies. Sometimes I can just sit down on a beat and finish it in like 25 minutes. Sometimes it could take like a few hours. Sometimes I have to sit on it and come back the next day. So it really varies. And I think for that one, that was one occasion where it was just like, yo, this beat is really fire. Like I can already hear what I'm saying. So it was just like I was meant to be. That's probably like the realest moment where I felt like I was meant to be at that place at that time doing what I was doing with the people that I was doing. And I think that that's going to be a big song, and we got a big feature on it. So
Okay.
definitely.
Now, I believe that you did a Richie Spice cover, and you sent it on IG. Just tell me how that all went down, because I think that's really cool how that kind of connected you to who you needed to be with at the time.
Definitely. Richie Spice is such a dope artist. My that's my dad's favorite artist. So since I was in Pampers, he was always na 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 na. Since I was little, so I'd be running around the house singing that before I even know how to like talk and stuff. So
Right.
for that, it was like I was actually doing a cover, but I accredited him for the intro that I did because I was
Mhm.
na 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 na, and I tagged him in the video, and he saw the video, and he reposted the video. So
Right.
I was like, yo, Dad, check this out, and he did not believe me. I literally was like, no, like this is really him. So then that kind of started everything because when he reposted it, Gramps Morgan and Morgan Heritage sort of like got that attention because they follow each other, obviously, and that opened a few doors for me as well. So
Right. So that must have been a big thrill for your dad, seeing that he's such a big fan. And then look, Richie Spice, he's posting your video now. So that must have been really a milestone for him as well.
definitely, it's very wild to me how the universe works. 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So which song would you like to start with, and tell us maybe a little bit about it before you get into it? Um,
So this one is called At All. It's the one that I actually just dropped. It was produced by J Vibe, and I co-produced it with him. So it's my second song, like my second single solo out, and I produced on it, which is dope. So I'm like looking forward to producing my stuff in the future, and it sort of opened the door to that.
okay. Big up yourself. Let's go.
Na 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 na. I said I tried, but it feels like I'm wasting my time. He says that he's losing his mind. He thinks I got things on the side, 'cause I can't decide if I wanna be tied down, tied up, worn out, light up. Enough now, no words, no words. 'Cause I know you too well. You don't know me at all, at all. If you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else at all? You say you love, sometimes it's hard to tell. I think something's wrong, but I wish you well. The show you put on has no end, it's clear. And through my rear view, I see that the end is near. My sincerest apologies to my dearest memory. I know you'll always remember me. I ain't got the remedy you need. You claim to know and to love. Wanna hold, wanna touch from the dawn to the dusk. What we had turned to dust. I think I've had enough. There's no you, there's no us. There's no us. I know you too well. You don't know me at all, at all. If you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else at all? And it doesn't sting like the first, second, or third time. I kept my word, let my word slip, broke down in no time. But I can't lie, felt this way for a while. Tried to escape for a while. We took a break for a while. Seems a break broke you down. It seems a break broke you down. 'Cause I know you too well. You don't know me at all, at all. If you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else at all? At all.
Yes, that was fire. That was fire. Thank you very much. So if tell me about touring and once this pandemic that we're unfortunately going through, once everything is safe and what are your plans moving ahead as far as touring and really putting Kaylan Arnold out there on the international stage?
So even before that, we are planning on starting a bidding war with some labels so that we can see what our best, well, obviously everyone that's on my team's looking out for our best interest, but that's how we're going to solidify like which direction we're going to go, because we might just stay independent, do it ourselves, or we could find a deal that's fair to me with people that care about me as a person and not just as an artist. So I would say even before that, we got to put the album out and have some music to be touring with, because we had some music come out before, but 2 songs isn't really enough to tour with, obviously.
Right. Okay. Is there one venue in particular that you'd be excited to play?
Probably the House of Blues in New Orleans would be very fire. I'd love to sell it out because I've seen a couple artists perform there when I was going to Loyola.
Now, if you had, I know you said possibly down the road, there's some collaborations that might take place with you and Chronixx, and I believe Koffee. Talk more on that. Maybe some other artists that you'd be excited about, or work together with.
Yeah, so Chronixx, definitely we got to solidify the feature. It started probably like the beginning of last year. We got in touch about this song called Somebody Needs It. And he really liked it and he said he wanted to put a verse on it. But then he did have some things that he was going through, and he told me that as soon as that was situated, that he would hit me back. So now we're back on that, and we're trying to get that solidified. And then as far as Koffee, I saw her perform at the Fillmore in Miami Beach and met her, and I'm friends with like her percussionist and her band and stuff. We went swimming the next day, so I feel like that's also a connection that's important to have. But as for now, I'd probably say those are maybe the only two, maybe one Hawaiian feature, because I have a few family members out there. But that's pretty much it for now. I actually have to work on like writing songs all the way through because I always write them with an open verse, and I feel like that could just be subconscious laziness. So I just started writing all 3 verses, and then if something comes along, we scratch a verse. But I feel like I don't really like to let any bar, any line in the song go to waste. You know what I mean?
Are you a bit of a perfectionist, would you say, when it comes to your music?
I would say that is like the biggest downfall and also greatest achievement, because 100% I'm a perfectionist. Like some things that could take other people 15 minutes sometimes could take me 45 minutes, not because of the actual physical act of doing what I was trying to do, but everything that comes with that. So I feel like I'm my biggest critic, which is a good thing because then nobody can out critique me. If I feel like something needs to be heard and fixed, then I'm gonna obviously hear it and fix it. So
Right.
it's like a good thing and a bad thing at the same time.
Yeah. And because you want to put out only the absolute best, right? So
Absolutely.
you don't really want to release it yet. You want to tinker a little bit more and change this and move this around a little bit until you get it, until it feels right.
Absolutely. Like the last single that I just put out at all, I cut that record like 4 different times in 4 different places. The first time I cut it, I was like, this is hard, but it was like on a crappy mic. So I was like, dang, we gotta recut this. I recut it again, the energy was just off. I was like, no, like I'm not enunciating everything the way I need to. Cut it the third time, and I didn't really like the mix that I got back. And then when I tried to get back the stems and start from scratch, it just was not sounding good. And then the fourth time I finally recorded it and it was a vibe. I was going through some stuff at the time, so I think the energy definitely went into the fourth time recording it and it finally came out the way that it is. So
Yeah. Now, speaking of energy, The Crown, I mean, that is one song that has from start to finish high energy. Tell me the influence behind it and how it came about.
So with that one, my label mate at the time, Jamiri Morgan, who's Gramps Morgan's son, got the instrumental, and that was a J Vibe rhythm as well. And J Vibe produced that in At All, my most recent single that I was just talking about. So naturally, his sound is awesome to me. I'm always gonna like love his sound. But Jamiri sent it and basically was like, "Yeah, I'm not really feeling this one, but I'm sure you could do something with it." So he sent it to me. And I was like, "Okay." And I listened to it and I was like, there's no way. Like, how could you not? How could you let this beat just like go like that? So I didn't let the beat go. I sat on it that day. I wrote the verses in like probably 15 minutes each in the hook, probably in like 3 or 4 minutes as well. And I was going through something at the time with my significant other who was also an artist, and it just became like a constant like battle and like a competition. So we were just going through some stuff, some phony stuff went down. I was like, okay, that's how you feel. I just got this instrumental, and I was like, lyric on another song. I'm the first one. And I obviously shout out the label that I put it out under, Dada Sun, in the first line, and then brought out the patois. And everyone's like, "Are you Jamaican?" I'm like, "No, I'm Jamaican by association, but I'm Belizean and Haitian, so we're right there. We're like the sandwich buns, and Jamaica is the burger meat in the middle."
Right. Yeah. Okay. So you're born in South Florida
Yes, sir.
and of Caribbean descent, I believe Belize and Haitian.
Yes.
Okay, and just tell me how great it is to grow up in South Florida where there's so many cultures and really a melting pot down here. How fortunate do you feel to grow up in this kind of environment down here?
I think that it is probably one of the biggest blessings ever for a couple reasons. The first reason is, like you said, I think it's like a melting pot. So there's so much going on. There's so much culture to be seen and to be like incorporated in without appropriating it, of course. But there's
Mhm.
so much that you can learn from different cultures of people and people that are from different islands, like literally in the middle of the ocean. They come here and they bring us like life. You know what I mean? Like there's some. It's like a little bit of seasoning. I feel like. I feel like the U.S. and I don't really like to get too political, but I feel like the U.S. needs some culture for the seasoning because if not, it would just be like a bland chicken. Like we
Right.
got like all the Caribbean countries, like that's the paprika and the garlic powder and not the adobo, but you know what I mean? So I think that it's a blessing and I give thanks for it all the time. And there's a lot more people that are Haitian down here than I expected, but Miami is like,
Right.
yeah. So I think it's dope. And I think that the way that my parents raised me was awesome as well. They did a very good job. And I'm blessed to have both. And I'm even more blessed to have them from different countries to bring culture into my blood as well, because then naturally it's there and it comes out in my songwriting and the way I treat people and the way that I go about my ordinary life. So
What message do you try to use your music to deliver a message? Uh, how do you think of your music as a vehicle, if you do, and if so, in what area would you really like to send that message?
I would say that my music is a vehicle in that um, it kind of carries like the things that I hold in my soul. to like it brings them to other people that can relate to the same things, you know what I mean? So I think that most importantly, it creates a way for me to free myself and in turn free other people at the same time. So yeah, I think it's a very special thing. And I'm glad that God created music and that music exists because I think without it, the world would be a lot different for sure.
Yeah. Today, what's your favorite concert, and what made it your favorite concert? If you had to pick out one right now
Like the favorite one that I've ever seen.
that you've ever performed at.
Oh, that I've ever performed at.
Mhm.
Okay. Ooh, that's a tricky question. Um, I would say there's a first in like a first point five place, but the first place, it was at Art Basel in Miami. It was at a house. There was a bunch of people. I'd never been to a house that could hold that many people in the backyard before. So I walked in there, and like a few people had already known me, and I was like, yo, like, look at people out here right now. I was a little bit nervous for like the first time in a while. I was like, wow. Like, I've never been to a Miami show or even knew that people in Miami got down like this and like just did
Right.
shows in their backyard. So it was really new for me. I used someone else's guitar, I'm pretty sure, which I'm like kind of infamous for doing when I don't like pull up with a guitar. I'll just be like, can I use your guitar? But they're like, yeah. So I used someone's guitar, and immediately the crowd was just like picked it up like that. It was a very receptive crowd. So I was like, okay, so this one's gonna be a lot of fun because once they show me that, then it gives me the opportunity to like really be myself and really do my thing and not hold back. So I would say that was my favorite because the call and response was awesome. Everyone was like everyone participated, and I would say I was treated really well. They literally just like asked me if I wanted to do the show, and I said yes. They didn't ask me if I wanted to be paid or anything, but then after the show, they paid me. So I was like very impressed with the way they did business as well. Very impressed with the marketing and the turnout, which is really dope and refreshing. And then the second favorite performance would be in Hawaii. I opened at this festival called Cabana Fest.
Mhm.
So it was for Janae Aiko, Danny Lay, Taiga, Made in Tokyo. And that was really like my first time meeting my manager. She flew me out and stuff. So that was like life changing for me in more aspects than one. So that's really special and I could never forget that. It was my second time in Hawaii, but it kind of felt like my first.
Now, talk a little bit about maybe the jazz aspect of your music, your songwriting, and maybe some artists in that genre that you really admire.
The jazz aspect.
That jazz, and I know Nina Simone, for example, is one of the artists that you did one of her covers.
Yeah,
Do it.
definitely. I would say that jazz is the foundation for a lot of things. Like it's like the godmom of hip hop. It's the godmom of like neo soul too. It's the godmom of a lot of things that people don't realize. And there's like a lot of artists like Etta James, Nina Simone, Dinah Washington, Amy Winehouse, obviously. Um, I think number one, it's a culture thing. It comes from the roots. It comes from the melanin for one. So it's kind of hard for me to like push that away or like hide that. I think it shaped a lot of the music that I listen to as well as the music that I make. Because being that Amy Winehouse is my favorite artist, I play a lot of her chord progressions still in other songs too. So whenever I'm using those chords, they're all jazz chords essentially. So a lot of the songs that I write when it's coming from just guitar come from those chords as well. And I do a lot of covers with those chords as well. And they just make me feel good and they get me through any situation. So it kind of shaped me as an artist and as a person. And it's just like a love that I feel like a lot of people share as well. So I think it's awesome. There's a lot of artists to give credit to in the field as well.
Is there one major thing that you'd like to accomplish besides, touring the world and just having a great time and making people happy with your music? Is there something beyond that you have in mind?
I definitely want to always be able to provide for my family. That's something that is essential to me because, like I said, my parents raised me very well and I never really needed anything. I may have wanted some things that I thought that I needed, but I didn't need them. So I would say being able to provide for my family is something that I will always want continuously. To remain happy also because there's a lot of things that try to snatch people's happiness away and it's something that goes really unnoticed. It's sort of like an elephant in the room is mental health. So I think just staying happy and keeping good head on my shoulders and like maintaining a good faith in God is something that I want to accomplish too, because it's already accomplished, but God forbid I ever like went down the wrong path, I know that I would be able to like get back to the relationship that I have with God and like how my parents raised me and stuff. So I would just say that. Also, a Grammy would be nice, but you know.
Okay. What was it like at 17 to release your first record? Uh, just tell me once it was released, what was going through your mind emotionally at 17? That's quite a feat.
Honestly, I thought that I was like I'm not even gonna lie. I thought that I was the bomb because I was in high school and I had people listening to my music. And then when I went to college and released the second one, like people that I didn't even know, I would be like walking by in the hallway and they'd be like, "Yo, like I heard this track. It's so fire. You're so awesome." And I'm like, "Yo, like I never did any shows. I didn't even know anyone." But as soon as you go to a school like Loyola, it's like a liberal arts school with a bunch of music heads. So
Right.
like once they find out that you sing and that you make good music, they need to hunt you down and like make sure they get in the studio with you, the ones that really want it. So I think that it was really dope. Um, I don't really think that I'm someone that needs or craves attention, but obviously, like anyone else, when you get a little attention for something that you did, that you worked your behind off to get, it always feels really nice. So definitely was like a huge stone in that I could feel that the universe was talking to me and that I was making the right decisions and that no matter what decision I made, God already knew that I would make that decision and therefore God would be there to like catch me if I felt like it was the wrong decision. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Tell me about the less glamorous stuff, though, of being an up and coming star behind the scenes. Is there a lot of things that you need to really stay on top of business wise and really be selective with that maybe
Absolutely.
fans don't know about?
Absolutely, 100%, because there's a whole side, the business side of the industry that people that are not in the industry don't really ever get to see. They think they see, but they do not. So I would say that the talent in the music industry is 2% of really what's going on. And
Wow.
I'm not saying that if you're not talented, like I don't really know what I'm saying when I say that, but what I'm really trying to highlight is like you being good at singing is going to get your foot in the door, but your attitude about how you move is going to keep you in the room with those people behind the door. So I think that's very, very important. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way because I just like, I have a big mouth and I always feel like if I feel like I'm being wronged, like everyone needs to know that I'm being wrong so I can make it right. And that's not really how the industry works. It's more so like you develop these connections and these business relationships with someone. And then even if they do you wrong, you have to tread lightly because there's like certain things that you know that God has for you and no one can take them away. So it doesn't really matter what obstacles you face in the industry because you're going to be good regardless. So I'd say that's something that I have to be on top of and like really watch out for. And it would just be my own self tripping up over my own self or like canceling out any of my own blessings by making the wrong decisions or hanging with the wrong people. And then the second thing behind that would be just like watching who you trust in the industry because there's a lot of people that you think are your friends and really they just need like your resources and stuff. And for me, like I'm full of love and I'm full of connection. So if somebody wants to come be my friend and they need to use my resources, that's fine because it says more about them than it does about me. And the people that I have gained relationships with, they're going to be real relationships. So there's nothing that someone could come into my life and take away from me. If anything, it's something that they can take away that I've given them to take away. You know what I mean?
What would you say to some as an aspiring singer right now that is writing and they're writing and they're doing what they need to do, but right now opportunity is not knocked at their door. Is there anything you tell a young person that was in your shoes maybe a couple of years ago, as far as what they're going through, and no breaks as of yet?
I would say to just keep your foot on the gas because number one, keep your foot on the gas. And number two, my homeboy said this the other day. He was like, you got to be in the car with people that if the car shuts down, they're going to get out and help you push. At the end of the day, they're
Mm.
not just going to sit in the car. So I would just say, keep pushing. And as cliche as that sounds, like you just got to keep your foot on the neck so that they can't get up. If they get up, then that's when they sleep on you. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you can't sell yourself short ever under any circumstance. Not even like, oh well, I mean, no, like you can never just like be submissive. There's a difference between giving in and agreeing to disagree and just putting your foot down and having respect for yourself. So that
Okay.
goes for everyone.
So before I ask you to go into another of your songs here, tell me about that first time you went to a party and you didn't know that your song was going to be played, and it was, and what was that like to hear your song being played at like maybe a huge party? Did that happen, and how did that feel for you?
It's happened like a couple times. Once I went to Belize and the song "Cut You Loose" that I did with Jamaica Morgan, they were playing it at this like little island. It was like a little water taxi that you had to take from like one of the keys off the coast of Belize. It's called Coco King. And that
Right.
was it because my whole family was sitting down and the vibe was kind of dead. And then they played it, and my whole family, like my dad, my mom, my aunt, my brother, like my cousin, they all got up and they were dancing. So that was really awesome. And then another time, I went to this nightclub called Shush in Miami, and
Mhm.
it's like a hidden little club. It's like a whole bookshelf, and you like open the door behind the bookshelf, and it's like a whole club. It's very sick, and it's like New York themed, like old school New York themed. And my manager was there. I showed up a little bit late with my little like entourage, and I walked in, and she dropped my song as soon as she knew that I was in the building. Like as soon as I came through the door, she told the DJ to play it. So by the time I was in there, it was already playing, and that was really awesome for me too because I got to like turn up with my friends to my song. So
Right.
fun.
All that hard work, right?
Absolutely.
No doubt. Okay. So what's the next song that you're going to be so kind to perform for us, and you want to tell us a little bit about it?
So I'm gonna do a couple. The first one is actually gonna be a cover, and it's of an Erykah Badu song, and it's one that I open most of my acoustic shows with because it really hits home for me, and I really love Erykah Badu, and I really love this song. Plus, almost everyone knows it if they know music, so everyone sings along. So then it gets to a point in the performance where I don't even have to sing; like the audience is just like singing it for me, and we're vibing and snapping. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna hit that one, and then after that, I'm gonna do the one called "If I'm Lying" that I was talking about
Okay, great.
before. Oh, on my mind, I'm feeling high. My money's gone, I'm all alone. You want to lose me, the world keeps turning. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. Said peace and blessings manifest with every lesson learned. If your knowledge was your work, then it would be well earned. If we were made in his image, then call us by our name. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Oh, on and on and on and on. The cycle keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on and on. I go on and on and on and on. Ooh, on and on and on and on. I was born underwater with $3.06. Yeah, you might laugh, cause you did not do your math. Like 1, 2, 3. Damn, y'all feel that? Like 1, 2, 3. The man that knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. Does it seem colder in your summertime and hotter in your fall? If we were made in his image, then call us by our name. They don't believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Oh, on and on and on and on. The cycle keeps moving like a rolling stone. On and on and on and on. Can't mess with me, so just leave me alone. On and on and on and on and on. I go I don't know, I don't know, no, no. I guess you wonder where I've been. I search to find the love within. I came back to let you know I got a thing for you, and I can't let go. What you won't do for love. You tried everything, but you can't give up. Said, in my world, only you make me do for love. Okay, so that was that. So something that I kind of like to do is like, since like playing instruments has created something for me, it's like whenever I hear one chord progression or one instrumental, I think of like 30 different songs that I can sing to it. So if I'm vibing, I like to just like, I'm like, oh, what? I just heard the Usher song. Like, let's sing the Usher song now. You know what I mean? So I think that it makes music a lot more fun, and that's something that I kind of do when we're freestyling too. So this one's called If I'm Lying. Said I'm sincerely in love with everything that you are. It's been that way from the start. You got my heart. And even if I give you space, Lord knows I'm never too far away. Nobody could ever take your place. And I'm lying when I say I don't care, or that I'll find someone who'll be there, or that I'll share the love I give to you, babe. I know I misbehave. If I'm lying, then I'm dying when I say nobody loves you like I do. If I'm lying, then I'm dying when I say nobody loves you like I do. So lately I've been watching what I say, cause I wouldn't want it any other way. I could call a Uber, maybe pull up where you stay, cause you seem to think I'm playing games. I can't tell no lie, I want you, but for more than one night. Promise that I'll treat you right. Thought I was in love, but it turns out that I was in lie. Say whoa, say whoa, say whoa, say whoa. If I'm lying, then I'm dying when I say nobody loves you like I do.
Yes, very nice. Thank you, Kaylan.
Thank you.
Very nice. So what's the one song you're working on now, or are you working on several? Do you take little breaks on each, and or do you just finish off one at a time?
I definitely take little breaks, and I have an issue with starting new songs while other songs gotta be finished. But I think that's every creative. So I would say there's a couple that I'm working on now that are like I thought the album was done, and then I had the songs, and then I made these last two songs, and I just had to reevaluate my life a little bit. to see if we got to put them on there. So I have like a reggaeton one that I just made with my friend. That's pretty awesome. And then I have some other vibes that are just like very fresh, and I'm excited to put it out.
Okay. What country would you like to perform in that you have not so far?
I'm sorry.
What country would you like to perform in that you have not so far?
Definitely JA. I can't believe that I haven't performed in Jamaica yet, but I'm excited to go do some shows down there. I really want to like meet Protege again. One time I met him at Koyo Taco in Miami, and he said that he was in some car in like Japan or something, and The Crown came on, and he heard Gramps' voice, and that's how he remembered. He's like, "You have a song with like Gramps Morgan, or like he's doing the ad libs on it," and I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Yeah, I heard it. It sounds nice." So I know Gramps probably sent it to him as well because he has a lot of connects in the industry. So I would love to like go down there and like see what's good with like the indignation community and like witness them freestyling and vibe out with them, and then eventually lock in with everyone. Leela, Savannah, Naomi, Coffee, like everyone.
Right. What do you think about outside of music, just standing up for civil rights now and this movement that we see happening? And I know you mentioned that it's very important for you to stand up for women rights and just human rights overall. Can you just speak on that? Why it's important not to just to perform, but why it's important to also lend your voice to a cause like that?
It's extremely important because I think that speaking out protects us all as a community. I don't think that being quiet or being silent about anything protects anybody, and I don't think that it helps anything at the end of the day. I think that we all have like an obligation at this point. It's not even like an itch or like a want to like go out and protest, or even if you don't go out and protest, like make a distance. I mean, sorry, make a difference, my bad. And I think that especially in this generation, it's extremely important to like make sure that everyone gets hip and everyone thinks that it's cool to like make sure that everyone has equality and like stick up for everyone, whether they're not your brother or your sister. And just make sure that you actually treat them like them. Because I think at the end of the day, like we all came from realistically melanin. So I think that there's a lot of respect in our genes, and I think that everyone is special. I think everyone is a king and everyone is a queen. So we just have to act that way and treat each other like that way as well.
Okay. And obviously, when you put on a concert and you see all these different nationalities and cultures come together, that in itself is really a bonding moment for your fans. And how do you feel that you kind of orchestrated all that with your music?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
At a concert, when you see all the different races and cultures
Mm.
come together, how do you feel that your music has really orchestrated all these people coming from different walks of life and cultures and colors and coming to listen to you and coming together?
I think that's awesome because it helps me realize that like there's such a broad spectrum of people that we can touch with whatever we do, whether it's musical or creative or whether it's not. I think that's important to like really focus on the fact that like we were talking about earlier, it's a melting pot of everything. I think it's very important to highlight and uplift everyone that's in the melting pot, you know what I mean? Because you never know who feels like they're standing out when like I feel like we are united at the end of the day. So if I can make music to bring people together, then I'm just gonna keep doing that, and it makes me feel like we're on the right track for sure.
No doubt. Okay. So can you just tell the audience where they can find you, where they can follow you, and what they can look forward to in the next couple months or so as far as Kaylan Arnold?
Definitely. I would say that my most active social media account is Instagram for sure. It's gonna be my first name dot my last name, so Kaylan dot Arnold, Kaylan dot Arnold. My Twitter is who is Kaylan, just my first name, and then that's pretty much it. I don't have Snapchat or anything else like that. My YouTube is just my first and last name. You could check it out. That'll be awesome as well. And then honestly, just like stay blessed and stay safe.
Okay. I'm going to allow you now to close by saying anything you want to say, speak on anything you want to say to the audience, no matter what the topic might be. And so I'm going to give you the platform to speak on whatever you want to talk about, Kaylan.
So, well, firstly, I want to say thank you for having me on the show. It's been awesome, very productive and um, touching conversation, I feel like. And I feel like we touched on a lot of things that needed to be highlighted, not just in my life, but just in general about the industry and just about facts about music. And it was really entertaining for me. And it's always a pleasure when I get in an interview and it's not like boring. And I'm just like, bro, like you asked the same question 7 times in a row. Like, come on. It's really dope that you had like a variety in your questions and stuff. And it really made me think. So thank you for that. Number two, I would say that especially in the Caribbean community, we have to focus on our youth's mental health and make sure that they don't grow up feeling neglected or that they need to hide things or they need to like not be themselves in any way because I don't know. I think that the purest form of self love is being able to just like be you authentically and 100%. So we cannot just like turn a blind eye to kids that want to be themselves at the end of the day, regardless of what it is. If they want to have pink hair, if they want to be in the LGBT community, if they want to have like gold teeth in their mouth, or if they want to have no tattoos whatsoever, like we just gotta accept them for who they are at the end of the day. And I would say that's it. I would say don't stand in your own way because you're just slowing stuff down. There's no point in standing in your own way. There's sometimes you got to lose some battles to win the war. And that's it.
Okay. Well, Kaylan, thank you so much for coming on. You're a blessing to the show and all the continued success to you. And we know that you have so much more great things ahead of you. And you are an inspiration to not only your fans, but just people in general, as far as just working hard and just really now enjoying some of the spoils of all that hard work. So thank you for setting that example for many people.
Of course, anytime. I appreciate you.
Okay,
That's safe.
I appreciate you too, and all the best. And to everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a very insightful conversation with one of the rising stars here, not just in reggae or R&B, but just music overall. And we'll all keep track of Kaylan Arnold. And thank you so much for joining us here at Game Changers with Fabian Lyon. And hope to see you next week. And once again, Kaylan, thank you for appearing on my show.
That's all.
Okay.